Good morning, Flosstube. My name is Laura, and I'd like to welcome you to Stitching by the Shore, my channel all about cross stitch. I hope everyone is well. If you are new, welcome. Thank you so much for pressing play and giving my channel a try. I hope you like what you see and hit like and subscribe and all that good stuff. And if you are a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back and spending some stitchy time with me. I did do midweek a video. You asked for my before craft room pictures, and so I did a video of the craft room in its before state. It has gotten messier since that video, because what I'm finding is that in order to organize, I have to make more of a mess. And I'm still in the process of trying to figure out how I'm going to organize everything. So then that means there's just everything thrown all over the place. So it got messier. It got messier. But I am in the process, and it may take me a little bit of time to get everything figured out. But when we do, I cannot wait to show you an after video. And then I will break down each section if you want some more details of what's in things, how I got it, where I got it, my craft table. Mo did put it together. I have a table here. I'm still using the TV tray table though for videotaping right now. It was basically a mixture of things from IKEA. And so when we get to that point, I will tell you what I got, where I got the idea from. It wasn't my original idea, and what I did or had Mo do and provide all the links. So that way, at all times, I will try to give as much info as possible when we get to that. I think I have figured out my DMC floss organizational thing, or what I'm going to do. I was planning on spending money on something else for the house, and I decided I didn't need that, so then I could take that money for this, and you know, all that good stuff. So when we get there, I will talk about that more. But today we have lots of stitching to talk about. I have stitching on and off, couple projects I did pretty good on, couple projects I thought I would get more this week, and I'll talk about it afterwards. Shamrock had a pretty good week, but he was kind of one of those good day, bad day, good day, bad day kind of weeks. So some days I spent more time with him sitting on my lap and just hanging out, and sometimes he was pretty much independent and didn't want that, and I was able to get some stitching in among some other things that we had to do. But we'll talk about that at the end with life. Okay, so I have one finish in all of this, I think. Almost. I'm calling it a finish for now. You probably won't see it again when I do the last little bit. No new starts. No, I thought about it. I almost started something, but we had too much going on this week, especially yesterday with Shamrock and all the vet stuff. So I ended up not doing that. And then I have a full coverage piece to show you and a bunch of other smaller projects. So let's get going. Okay, first one. This is from Hands On Design. It's called Winter Solstice. It's such a pretty pattern. What I've chosen to do is not to stitch them separately. I'm actually stitching them in a row as one big piece, or big is a relative term because it's not, these are small, especially on the 18 count. So that's what we have. This is 18 count Lapis from To Die For fabric. It's a beautiful blue. That's pretty true actually right there, showing you it's not super dark, but not super light. I adore it. And I think this would be a good one for some of my flying Santas, I think. But anyway, so what I did basically was I took the two patterns in the chart. She shows them side by side. I made a working copy, made all sorts of notes for measurements so I knew what I was doing with the fabric, and then basically I'm just stitching them side by side. I got a little bit more done here, and then I started with this house. What I was trying to do, and it's always the dilemma with houses for me. I don't know what you do. Do you do windows and other things and then fill in the house? Do you do all the house and then fill in like the windows afterwards? So I decided to do the windows first. That was easy. And then I started filling in some of the other part of the house. Well, at the bottom of the house, both the houses, you can see there's like a decorative element at the bottom. I started that. There's a lot of counting, and the night or the day I was doing it, I don't remember. This was after my Flosstube, so this might have been Friday night actually. My counting ability was it was suspect, to put it bluntly, to put it as nice as possible. And I think I have this right as far as I can tell, but there's a lot of it, and so it went way slower than I thought it would. I think I still will do all that, and when I get to this house I'll do the same, but I do think underneath the house there's like a layer of what would be snow, because it's white, so I might stitch that so I have a bottom line of what's going to be going below the house, and then go back and do this and eventually just fill in the house. But for somebody who, I don't necessarily super enjoy houses, but I love house patterns, so I seem to stitch a lot of them. And I always have this dilemma, windows or house first. So I'm curious what you all do. Or if you have something where there's pieces inside, do you do that and then fill in, or do you wait at the end? Just one of those questions. So anyway, that's winter solstice. It's coming along. It's there, as you can see. Now 18 count, obviously it's a lot smaller than it would be on some of the other counts, but I think it's going to be cute when it's done. Okay. So instead of throwing things on the stadium chair here, I'm going to throw them on the table over here and hope they don't fall. The table's a little farther away than I thought it was. Next, this is what I thought was a finish, and then thinking in my head, I forgot there's one thing I needed to do. Heart and Hands Wee Santa 2020. That's what he looks like. Super cute. It was close, and so basically what I'm doing is going through some of my projects, and I'm looking at them and saying, how close are they to a finish? And I'm doing my best every couple weeks to pull something out and just finish it and say, that's it. No more dilly-dallying, just get it done. And this guy, I was down, well, I had little bits, like I had an extra star and I had the snow at the bottom and some snow on the tree, but it was his little pants right there that were giving me some, you know, I just wasn't feeling it. So I just finally said, just dig in and do it. I'm not adding the charms. There's 3 little star charms. I'm not adding them. They're in here, so if at some point I do pass this stash along, then I'll just leave the charms in there for the next person. So that's what it looks like. I, of course, you know, I don't seem to keep the model picture color the same. And if I can use a blue, you know I will. So there he is. This is 18 count Whimsical from Color and Cotton. It's a very pretty blue. Now the only thing I forgot to do, see the little snowman there? He's supposed to have some eyes. His eyes are slated to be French knots. If you knew, you wouldn't know this, but I have a basically hate-hate relationship with French knots. I cannot do them. Can't. I have watched the videos. I've watched them pretty much, because last time I had this dilemma, so many of you gave me some great suggestions and ideas of videos. I watched them, and now Stitching Mommy has one out recently. I haven't watched hers yet, so I will look at hers. Even if I stitched righty, I don't think I get it. I stitch lefty, so most of the videos are righty, so that right there is an issue. Then sometimes, like, there is a lefty video, but it just says basically go boop, 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 and you're done. Well, that doesn't really help me. I tried colonial knots. Remember, Mo even tried colonial knots for me because I was just going to make him do all of them. Didn't work. I could do beads, but this is so small and tiny. Basically, when I have French knots, I go up and then I go down right next to a little bit. I mean, it's a little tiny snowman. He's going to have little tiny eyes. So that's probably what I'm going to do with this one. But I think I would need somebody in person because the videos are not translating to my brain what to do. And I mean, this has been a dilemma. I remember trying to do them back when I first started cross stitching back in the 90s. It just didn't work for whatever reason. And I don't know if people really did colonial knots back then. Maybe that would have taken better, but it didn't work. Still don't take, still don't work. I'll try. And I've tried doing it righty according to the videos, but that feels so strange to me. Even though I am a righty when it comes to writing, I do a lot of things lefty, including stitching. And so it just doesn't work. So there he is without any eyes yet for the snowman. But he's cute. I think he'd be small enough to be an ornament. I am one where I'm a fan of smaller ornaments rather than bigger ones. Whoop. But I think this would fall under the size that it would work still. And I would keep it simple. As you know me, I'm a simple girl. So that's that one. I'm calling it a finish for now. If somebody didn't even look, you wouldn't even know that he needs eyes, but I'll give him some. I did do changes. I forgot about that. So what did I change? I didn't add the charms. I changed Santa's face because, like Lizzie Kate, this was super, super pink face. I will list down below in the description box what I changed it to. I changed his face color. I changed then his cheeks and nose to something much less pink. And then here you see they actually have a mouth. I was stitching along, totally forgot it, and I actually prefer it this way. So I didn't do that. The other thing I changed in the picture with the snow, it's not on every branch. I wasn't quite sure what the rhyme or reason was to where it was, and I wanted to make it a little bit more symmetrical, so I did put snow on every branch. So it's a little bit of snow on that. So I did make a few changes on this. And that's it. Okay. That was the finish. That's what I'm calling a finish. Okay, the next one. I have really enjoyed stitching this until I'd say the last week or so. It's so close. I'm going to finish it because I did enjoy it, but it has so many little color changes that it's a little frustrating now because I'll give it an hour's worth of stitching time and I've maybe done this little bit, tiny bit. I'm talking about Pretty Little Amsterdam from Satsuma. I love it. I love the design. I love the colors. I love everything about it, except this final bit of stitching. I'm just gonna be honest. And I have Pretty Little Dublin, which I really wanted to stitch after this one. I think I need a break. I think I need to take a little bit of a break from the cities because this is about doing me in. Now, I totally changed it. I did pull out some 18 count Nantucket Sky from Farbics by Stephanie. And by doing that, I did not stitch the clouds because there's already clouds in my mind in the fabric. Otherwise, I am keeping, and what I did because of that, I brought down the sun a little bit because it was way up here because there would be clouds here. And it kind of seemed out of place. So I did bring that down a little bit. But I mean, you can see there are a million color changes. So every other tulip and then the bottom part and all the water. And so I gave it a little bit of a time one day and I gave it a bulk of another day's stitching. And I still don't feel like I made much progress. I am done at the top. It's really more down at the bottom that I'm stitching. So I'm going to keep at it at this point because I don't want to, I've come so close. I don't want to just put it away and have it sit for a year when I have this little bit left. So this might be until I get my fabric for Serena. Ooh, my notes just went flying. Until I get my fabric from Sabrina Sprout. I think this one I will try to keep every week in there just so that I can get it finished. I don't want to leave it hanging on. It's cute. So that's what that looks like. And these are fun. I mean, I wouldn't say don't stitch them, but there are so many color changes and you'll do 4 stitches, then you have to change a color. And so a lot of times I'll keep the strand and find some other places, but it still seems to take forever. So forewarned on that. Okay, let me show you my full coverage. And I am going to show you a picture of this one. This one came from an Etsy shop called Maxispatterns. I link everything down below, so just look for it down there if you're interested. Her patterns, they're pretty. She has a lot of them. They are much more of kind of a muted color look. You're not going to get there's a few that are that bright color, but a lot more of them are along these lines than the really bright ones. This is called Ocean Village 1. Now, back in my naive days before I started stitching full coverage, there's an Ocean Village 1 and then there's an Ocean Village 2, and it's basically like the other side of the road, so that you have like the road and then what would be on the other side. So they're kind of mirror images, different shops, obviously. And I bought them both. And I said, oh, I'm going to stitch one and then stitch the other. And it'd be cute if you have them up. I'll be lucky to get this one done. I am still up in this corner. I cannot wait to get down into the shops. I feel like, okay, it might be more confetti, but it'd be a little more interesting. So I'm getting there. I'm getting to the point where I am starting to maybe get to the bottom of where the plant is, and then I can start getting with the shop. So that's what I have so far. I feel like these look better going out. So, you know, obviously sky, and then you have the trees over here. Now, somebody had asked, I think, how do I stitch these in hand? And yes, I do. I stitch everything in hand. Big, small, doesn't matter. So this one, I don't know if I have the count. This one's not as big as, say, one of the giant, does it say stitch count? Let's see, learn more about it. Okay, it's a 300 by 300. So it's not your giant heaven and earth. But obviously this much this way and this much that way. And I just stitch in hand. I have been using, in some cases, although I haven't grabbed one yet for my Red Riding Hood, and she's even bigger. I don't know if you've seen these. I'm sure, well, I shouldn't say that. I've seen so many floss tubers. They use them a lot of times to corral fabric, like if you're using a, what's the frame? The Q-snap? The Q-snap. I've seen people use them that way too. But basically, I just rolled the fabric and stuck their cord wranglers or whatever. And so I took one. Sometimes I have a second one down here. I don't know why. I don't know what happened to the second one at this point. But, and so this way I just hold it. So for me right now, I'm holding it and I'm stitching with my left hand. Now, I definitely think it'll come in handy when I've got this side stitched and I want to hold the stitched, because then I have to keep reaching behind the fabric. And the more there is over here, the more it would be an issue. So that's where we are. I had another question, because you know I do not have an Android, so I cannot use Pattern Keeper, and I'm too cheap to buy even a cheap version of an Android, you know, a Kindle or whatever. I'd rather put that money into either organizational stuff or things that I can stitch right now. But I did buy, for one, it's a yearly thing, so I'm giving it a year. I did buy Knit Companion, which Jan Hicks uses, and I'm finding it a very steep learning curve, to be honest with you. What it doesn't do, although you can manually do it, and that's where I'm in the process of doing, is you can take a giant pattern, and I believe in Pattern Keeper, each page can be side by side, so you can see from page to page. They don't do that here unless you manually piece it all together. And the thing is that I've been doing that, but it's not very intuitive how to do it. There's a lot of different buttons and things that have to be pushed, and I haven't gotten it in my brain yet where it feels comfortable. I have heard there is a learning curve to it. I don't know if there is one with Pattern Keeper. So I am still persevering. I will say at the moment, I don't think I would renew it. Now, I have months yet to go and a chance to see if I like it more. What I am waiting on is there's Markup RXP, I believe it's called. And that can be used on either Androids or iPhone products. So I would be putting it on my iPad, as that's where I would use it. They do not have that page feature yet, but I did join their Facebook group and I have been following it, and it's in the works. So they are in the process of adding that to their next update. They seem very responsive. People ask questions and the developer answers, sometimes offers to help. So send me a picture of your problem and I'll help you. Other people have helped out. So I'm curious when that app has the feature that I've been really waiting for, of having, you know, being able to have everything all knit together rather than me having to manually do pieces, Because if I'm going to have to do it from page to page, I'd rather do it with written pages, to be honest with you, as opposed to on the screen. Because then I can just put them side by side even and see what's going on. But if that app can get that feature, I would give it a try. Ideally, it would still be while I've still got Knit Companion, so that I can compare the two of them and see if either one of them gives me what I'm looking for and that I would keep with. Knit Companion, you do have to renew from year to year. I'm not sure the other one you do. It might only be a one-time fee. I'm not 100% sure on that. So I'm still kind of figuring out and learning what I want to do on devices for patterns. I'm not ready to say that I adore Knit Companion. Jan Hicks loves it, and she does have videos, and I've watched her videos. That's how I've figured out how to do some of the stuff. I don't know. I don't know if it's just the technology, I get frustrated with it, or what. So I haven't gotten to that point yet where I love it as much as, say, she does. So, and there are other videos. I think Needlebug has some too, and I've started to watch hers. I just haven't sat down and watched them all the way through. So there are ways to look to see if it is something you want to try. Watch the videos first and then see, you know, even before you would buy it or whatever. So I'll keep you posted. I know somebody had asked about that, and I did want to say something and let you know what was happening with that. I'm still up in the air with it, to be honest with you. So, but that could be just my hang up, to be perfectly frank. It might not be the program. It could very well be me. So that is Ocean Village 1. This one's going to go away now, and I'm going to work on a different full coverage. I've been trying to put in a little bit of time and pick out different full coverages so that they don't just sit there and languish in the studio and then every once in 3 months pick one out, because then it really won't ever get finished. But let's move on. Okay, next. I have a whole slew of digitals. So, okay. I love this one. And I had seen somebody finish it. I think it was the Facebook group Stitching 911, Stacy's group. So then I had said I had to pull it out because it looked so good finished, and I hadn't worked on it in a couple weeks. I'm talking about Autumn Town by Autumn Lane Stitchery. I love this one. I really enjoy stitching on it. And I pulled it out. And that's where I am. This is, let me see, 18 count Fallen Leaf from To Die For Fabrics. I'm doing this by memory now because I may have to pick up my notes for the next piece because I'm not sure I can remember, but I've done this one often enough to know. There's no rhyme or reason to what I'm doing and how I'm stitching it from side to side. I stitched on this whole section. I made a mistake in my counting in the roof, and I didn't realize it until a decent chunk was done and I had done other things off of it. So there is like a section that is slightly bigger, and I'm kind of going from one side and the other side so that I can make sure it's done properly. Once that's done, then the counting error I can fix for all the other elements below. But at the moment, I'm having to be really careful. So this is taking me a little bit longer to stitch, just so that I make sure I don't completely throw because from here down is a full pattern. There is just pretty much straight through full coverage-ish. So if I don't fix my mistakes somewhere along the way, I'm going to be struggling all the way to make sure everything looks all right. I think this looks fine, even though this is one wider. Given the element, it doesn't skew it at all. So what I will do is probably next time I pick it up, I will try to do some here because I've been trying from both sides to do what needs to be stitched so that coming in, I can work on my mistake at this last part. So that's where it is. Loving it. Love it. That is Autumn Town. Okay, well, I'm moving this over. I'm going to grab my notes because I need to see what fabrics. Okay, I'll just leave them down here. For some reason, that tape never wants to stick. Okay. I have no idea why I pulled this out, but I felt like giving it some time. It's close. They are close to a finish. It's just a matter of me sitting down and working on them. And I'm talking about Summer in Nantucket from Plum Street Samplers. Be nice to have this done by summer. So maybe that'll be my goal, if I sit down and work on it, I could do it. Now, for those of you who know, I'm doing this in two times. If I was doing it only once, it would have been long finished. But I couldn't just do that. I had to make life more difficult for myself. All right, first one. I originally started stitching it in 18 count Summer Storm from To Die For Fabrics. And that's what it looks like. I love it on the blue. You know I love blue and summer and all that kind of looks. But about a month later, I said to myself, I really want to try it also on another color. I was thinking about this in the back of my head, and I pulled out some 18 count Gilded from Mystic Fabrics. And that's what it looks like there. So I am literally taking a section. For those of you who are new, I take a section, I stitch it on one color, and then I go to the other. Now, what I find really interesting, and you may not be able to tell on the camera, part of why I wanted to do this is, you know, this is more of a cool color. This is definitely the warm color, and your flosses will look different. These fish look so different on the two colors. They're definitely more of a pewter greenish over here, so like a gray green, versus over here on the warm color, they're definitely almost more in the bluer tones. So, and you get that all across the pattern here. So it's been really interesting. Not only would you get two different vibes, obviously a cool and a warm vibe from these, but some of your flosses will actually look different as they play off of the fabrics. So once I decided I was going to do this, I said, I'll do it as an experiment. These are small enough. This is small enough pattern that doing it twice is not that big a deal. So basically, I just stitched a lot of fish this week. I have the whole top section, except for some back stitch in the windows. But other than that, the whole top section is finished. It's the below the water. I have the fish, I have the whale with the mermaid on top of the whale, and a few kind of like star element kind of things that are just thrown in there. So that's it. That's my color experiment, if you're new. I love seeing how things play off of colors, and so I decided I wanted to give it a try and see what happened with this. It's a great pattern. It's a fun pattern. All right. Almost there. I got two more. All right, next. We go back to digital. This was not necessarily in my plan for this week, but I was sitting down one night. Now, this only got a night's work, but I think about it in relation to comparing it to Pretty Little Amsterdam, which got more time than this. And this, I can see a difference in my progress, even though there are a decent number of color changes, and I had to make a working copy where I'm marking things off as I stitch, because otherwise there's no way I'd be able to do this without driving myself nuts. It's called McChristmas, and it's from Cariad Cross Stitch Designs. I linked, I think it was last week when I restarted this, I linked the Facebook page because you buy from her Facebook page. So I'll do the same this week. And that's what it looks like. And this is what I've got. So let me just fold him up because obviously, let's see if I can get it. This is done on an 18 count Lotus from Bestitchme. So it's a very slight purple. Hopefully on your end, you're seeing it more purplish. I'm seeing kind of a reflection from the light, and it's not quite showing up as purple. It's not a heavy purple, just a very light purple. So last time I had this side done and I worked over here, and I feel like I got a decent amount. I also did a little bit more. Again, I'm taking a color and I'm going, this is between two pages. So I'm trying to work on that. And then once I get down here, there's a bigger chunk on one page, which will make it easier. But if I have a color on this side, I look to see if there's more on the other side and just kind of fill in. And then I still have a little bit of confetti-ish up here. As I get to some of those colors, I'll go back and fill in. But he's a lot of fun, and I'm really enjoying this the second time around. I'm so glad I restarted it, and I love it on the purple. I love the fact that I've learned that something like this needs a working copy, and just cross things off as you go, and it's gone so much faster and so much more enjoyable. So there's my little Christmas guy. Coming along faster than well, certainly faster than the last time, but I think I've learned since the last time I tried to stitch him. Okay, I have one more piece. And that is, you know, when you stitch and you say, okay, I don't have that much done. I am going to get this finished today. Well, that's what I thought yesterday. Cross stitching really makes you humble because you realize your visions were way more elaborate than you thought. Yesterday, one of the vet trips we had to do for Shamrock was the eye doctor. The closest one to us is about an hour and 20 minutes away. So I said, oh, I'm not driving. Awesome. I can stitch in the car up and stitch in the car back. This is a great car project. I said, I'm going to have it finished by the time we're done. No, it's not finished yet. It's almost there, but I think I need another week's worth of time. And this was from Modern Folk Embroidery. It's a freebie. I'll link it down below. And he put this out, a freebie for Ukraine. And he put this piece out maybe a month ago now. I'm not 100% sure, but I'll link it. I'll link directly to the page. And again, I didn't do it with that beige. I went with a bluish, kind of bluish gray. On Kimberly's site, I want to say that this, oh no, this is called Wisteria. This is Wisteria Gray, huh? For some reason, I thought this was Blue Moon. No, it's gray. Sometimes some of the ones that look sort of bluish are actually in her gray section. This one's called gray, so it's most likely in her gray section. So good thing I didn't try to go off my memory because I would have said Blue Moon, but this one is actually Wisteria Gray from To Dye for Fabrics. And it's a pretty, pretty gray. I used the two colors that he recommended with the pattern 444 and 322. And I think the blue is done. I did a heavy amount of border stitching yesterday. I thought that that would go a lot faster, and then I have a lot of yellow to put in and fix, and I just didn't get it. But I did get the border done, and I got all the blue. There might be one or two tiny blue elements I have to do, but otherwise it's just all yellow. So it'll be me and 444, a lot of 444. So I think, give myself another day, and I think this one can be done. Super excited. I did start another one by Stone Street. Obviously, that was a few weeks older. I haven't worked on it yet again. So when this one's finished, I will probably bring that one out. So that's it. That is all of my stitching this week. Whew. More than I would have thought given some of my days. But some days, you know, I just picked up for a little while and then kind of did what I had to do otherwise. So that's it. Now I gotta look it down here on my notes because normally I'd have them up there. I did get a piece of, well, digital happy mail. I didn't ask the person whether or not I could say their name, so I'm not going to. But I was speaking to a lovely, sweet individual who said, I'd like to send you a gift certificate to Jardin Privé because we were talking about charts and everything else, and it was so sweet of her, really, really sweet. And I have a wish list, I'm not gonna lie, on this site. And so I said, you don't have to, but I am so appreciative of your generosity. And so I picked up, I had been looking at this piece and I had not, I just hadn't made the choice. I mean, like any of these sites, there's a lot in my wish list. It's just a matter of when am I going to sit there and get it. I don't know what color I'd stitch this in, to be honest with you, but I picked up Quaker, I can't speak French. I apologize to anybody who may have French as their main language. I am butchering this. Quaker du Pretemps. What I sometimes try to do is I try to go to the Google Translate, not the Translate, but how you say it, and I try to practice so that I don't sound completely useless. I just forgot to do that this morning. But I picked this one up. I've been looking at it. You know, I've been loving the idea of Quakers lately, and there was something about it. I liked just all the little elements to it. And what I didn't realize, actually, and if I click on this picture, I'm not going to stitch it like this, but they actually have it. It's going to be a 4-part series. I assume that's seasonal-ish. So it's funny because the 3rd part's not coming out until 2023. Now these other parts, though, they said they were to come out in 2021. Obviously things didn't, I don't think they're out. I'll have to look, maybe, I'm not sure. But there are 4 sections to it. So she actually gives the measurements, they actually give the measurements of if you wanted to stitch it all as one piece. Let me see if I can get to that. Yeah, so, you know, you've got a full idea of how, if you wanted to stitch it that way, they give you some info on that. I decided right now, or I decided in general, what I would do is if I was to stitch them, I'd stitch them all separately and I could switch them in and out of, you know, showing them somehow or other. However, I think, because I know a lot of you asked me about how I'm going to finish Lady Halloween. I think I want to frame her. I don't have any idea, way, shape, or form how that's going to be done. So that side wall right there, I plan on having some storage stuff along the bottom, but up top, what I would like to do is put some shelves. And then just a lot of times just finish things in frames. Or sometimes maybe not even frame them, just finish them over the board, and then they can, I'm looking at some shelves from IKEA. Big surprise, right? Because I'm getting everything from there. And they have, you know, a little ledge so it can easily tilt a little bit. So I don't necessarily have to have everything like framed. Although I think I'd like some because it would, you know, finish it off. I don't know. I have to look at the size of the shelves and how it's going to work. So I don't know how much or what will be up there, but that's how I would like to generally have most of my cross stitch if I'm not putting it in a stitching scrapbook or making an ornament or something out of it, that it would just be up there. There's generally not any other places around the house here that I would put my cross stitch for the most part. So this way I have a chance to put it up. I could rotate some things depending on what I have, and then just go from there. But I think in this case, for something like this, they would probably get either just finished on on the mat board, or they would get finished in a frame. And then just, if they are seasonal, rotate them out for the season. So thank you so much. The wonderful Stitchy friend who gifted that to me. Okay, shopping. I have just fabrics. From 2 different companies. I have Bestitchme and I have Fortnite. I have Bestitchme's fabric of the month, but I also won a Friday night fight night fabric. Now, I don't stay up on Friday nights. On the East Coast, fight nights are at 10 o'clock on a Friday night if she has them. I am in bed at 10 o'clock pretty much religiously. It's just one thing I've seen, especially at this time of my life. They say during perimenopause, menopause, in order to try to get your sleep as best as possible is to go to bed at the same exact time and get up at the same time. You may not always sleep in that time, I'm up half the time, but to try to get your body in that mode. So at 10 o'clock, unless I am out or something else, I am in bed. I am not going to sit there and try to grab fabrics from as beautiful as Brandy's fabrics are. I'm not doing it. So I look on Saturday mornings. Sometimes there's something there. Sometimes there's not. I miss out on some great colors, but that's life. I'm okay with that. Somebody else got it, so that's great. But this one, I was surprised this one was there because it's a beautiful blue. You know me and blues. It has no name. It just, had a number from her fight night. But it's 18 count aida. And look at how pretty that blue is. So nice. So I picked up a blue on fight night. On Saturday morning, fight morning, I guess we'll call it, because that's when I look. So always look, always pay, if you miss it, even if you plan on going at 10 o'clock and you do want to see, check out, because sometimes there's no names on something that you might want, or maybe there's one name, and put your name behind it because that person may have decided, I don't really want it anymore, and you may get it. Now the other one is March's fabric of the month. So if you have not gotten your fabric of the month yet, please look away. I get 18 count and I get the colors. All right, so it's called Adventurine. I don't think that would give it away, but look away if you don't want to see. 18 count Aida, and that's what it looks like. It's pretty, huh? Really nice. So that is that. Let me put it down. Okay, you can look again. That was Bestitchme. And then I got my Fortnite Fabrics. Well, that's a redundant thing. Fabric of the month. I do two. I do Groovy Gradients, I believe it's called. It doesn't say. And the other one is their Opal. Now in the Opal, I get a teeny tiny piece. You can ask for 1/8 of a yard. And so for the Opals, that's what I do. Both of these are 18 count. If you don't want to see, please look away. The Opal is called Flame Nebula. Look at, now that's not as crazy in person. You can tell the difference between the colors, but I'm looking at the screen saying, oh, good gravy, what would I stitch on that? It's not, it is most definitely not that crazy in regards to how much the colors look different. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. So that's the first one. So if you didn't want to see the Opal on 18 count, don't forget all of these too, depending on your type of fabric and your count, can be completely different looking. Next, we've got 18 count, and this was the Groovy Gradients. I don't know what in the world I'm going to stitch it on, but it's so pretty. I can't wait. Okay, look away if you don't want to see. Look at this. Look at how pretty this is. Again, no clue. I don't have any idea. I have to go through my patterns to see what would look good on this. Any suggestions? Let me know. Really, really pretty. Okay, you can look back. But I'm so glad, like something like that I wouldn't necessarily have gotten for myself, but I am so glad that I grabbed, signed up for that fabric of the month, because they've been some great colors so far, I have to say. January, February, March, I've loved all three of the Groovy Gradients that they have put out. So I have so far really enjoyed it. Okay, that was it for shopping. That's all I got. Giveaways. Let's talk giveaways. So I have a couple things to do here. Let's grab the blue bowl. I do want to remind Christy T. So last week I pulled Christy's name for the Trucking Along April pattern. So Christy, you have one more week. I'm really hoping you see this. If I don't hear from you by the time I film my next video, I will pick a new name. All my giveaways are good for 2 weeks, and then I choose a new winner. So Christy, I would love to send this to you. Okay. Now, this week, I have one of these little art books from Allegro Stitches. So cute. So that's the inside. This is the beautiful, beautiful fabric. I'll hold it out this way, open that way, that it is made of. I threw one of these in my bag yesterday for my car stitching, and I used it and loved it because I didn't have all the little extra threads all over the place. So I think you will love it too. Allegro Stitches, I will link her below. All right, now move the names around. There was a lot of names. She does beautiful work, Amy Clarissa does, so I could see why a lot of you would be interested. And so great for stitching on the go, I have to say. Usually there's threads all over the car when I do car stitching. All right, the winner is Samantha Eastham. So Samantha, I don't know if that's showing up. Congratulations. If you could get back to me with your address, I will ship this out to you. As always, 2 weeks with giveaways. Please be 18 or older. Please don't say giveaway or free. This is for what's coming up. And I'm always appreciative if you are a subscriber. I'm not going to check, but I would really appreciate it if you were. Okay, that's that. All right, so Samantha, I'm going to put that there. Plus I'll put Christy's in the bowl, and we'll put this here so I don't lose anything. This week, what am I doing this week? Well, I wanted to pay forward the kindness that was given to me. So I am going to do a gift certificate to Jardin Privé for this week. I am going to do the €10 gift certificate. I think right now, I looked this morning, what that is in US dollars is $11. Obviously that changes from day to day, because whatever the euro to the US dollar is, whatever other, and I'm just throwing that one out there because I live in the US, but whatever your currency is, obviously that will change. Their site is in euros, and that's how it is. And then it just basically, whatever payment, that's how they do the difference in the payments. So I am going to do a €10 gift certificate. I thought about what I wanted to do for a word, and I didn't want to make it so if you were making comments that it would be something else if you weren't interested in this. So I'm going to do, because the one that I got was a Quaker, I'm going to ask you to say the word Quaker. She has many other things besides Quakers. My Lady Halloween had Quaker elements to it. Maybe that's one you want to try. But I'm going to use that as the word. So if you say the word Quaker anywhere in your comment, I will put your name in the bowl, and then I will pick a winner next video. You will give me your email address, and then I think I buy the gift certificate, tell them which email address to send it to, and then they send it. I'm pretty sure that's how it works. Or if not, it could be like Fire Poppies. I shouldn't say that. Fire Poppies, when I did it, are we so sad about Fire Poppies closing, by the way? But anyway, when I did the gift certificate for Fire Poppies, they sent me the voucher code. I then sent the voucher code on to the winner. So however it works, we'll figure it out. Either way, I would like to pay forward the kindness and offer a gift certificate to Jardin Privé. So just say the word Quaker if you would like that in your comment. Okay, that's the stitching part of it. I am taping late today. Today was one of those things when you move to a new place, what are those fun things you have to do? You have to go to the DMV. So we slated this as DMV morning. I said to Mo, I'm taping, but we have a delivery of something coming later on, and you get that window, so we have no idea when they're going to be here. So if I taped in the morning, that would have been an issue. So I said, all right, I'll tape later than in the day, and we'll get the DMV out of the way. Now, I have to say, believe you me, DMV in Connecticut is a nightmare, is an utter nightmare, and the lines and the waits can be ridiculous. Now, I haven't been there in ages, but I'm pretty sure it's not any better. I remember poor Mo, he ended up going from one to another, like half an hour away, because the waits were ridiculous and whatever. So luckily the waits were the waits were non-existent. We just had to do a lot. We had to have our cars go through and have them tested to be roadworthy. Then we had to go in and get licenses changed, and then we had to go to another section and get registrations changed. So there was just a lot to do. In most cases, though, I think the longest we waited was 5 minutes in any of those 3 sections. So we lucked out in that. But this was between driving there, because it's about half an hour away from us here, and then the entire process, it was about a 2-hour process. Well, we brought Shamrock. And originally I said to Mo, well, what are we going to do? Like one go in, but both our names are on the cars and everything. So he said, we really need to both be there. So we just carried him in, and we just held him the whole time. Nobody said anything. I was a little worried. I said, well, we'll figure out what to do if they say we can't. But he literally didn't say a peep. He sat in my arms. He was a little shaky to begin with, probably from the car ride, but then he settled in and just kind of, except for when I took my picture, I had to give him to Mo. I said, I don't think they're going to let me take a picture with Shamrock for my license. But yeah, he just hung out with us and came to the DMV. What I am realizing, so for the pictures, and I don't know if this is now a new thing every state, but in Connecticut, I have to drive with my glasses because I just can't see distance. I could barely see the road if I don't have my glasses on. So I guess it depends. You could take your picture without them, but your license will say you need some sort of, obviously you could do contacts. But I always took a picture with my glasses because that was just how I wore them all the time. Well, they say no glasses. And I don't know if that's, again, something new or it's a Delaware thing or what. I'm realizing without my glasses, you can see I looked so much older because you could see all the bags under my eyes and everything else because I haven't been sleeping well this week. And then my hair looked really gray. I was like, oh man, it doesn't look like me without me looking like me. But anyway, I had my hair combed and all that. Poor Mo had he wasn't thinking at all. He put a baseball cap on, and then he took the baseball cap on, and the hair was everywhere. So he was trying to pat it down. So his picture looks way worse than mine even. Although he probably doesn't look as old as I do. But it was kind of funny. Anyway, so that was our lovely morning, was the DMV. Like I said, I have to say, the wait times were so much better. There was just a lot that had to be done. So that was the not so fun morning. And going there, I followed Mo. I should have just done my GPS and done it my own way. His took him the most convoluted way ever, whereas you could have just been on one road and then another and gone straight down. So going back, I said, I'm going my own way. I'm not doing this. Because you would go one way and then you turn around. It felt like you were going another way. I was like, I don't like this. So it was a crazy morning. So yesterday, I didn't get a lot of stitching done, except for car stitching, because Shamrock had his vet appointments. In the morning, he had his ophthalmologist. So we had to go up to Christiana. All right. I don't think it's very far from Dover. I don't really know my areas yet. No, not Dover, Newark. I believe it's up that way. Dover's way down. So it was about an hour and 20 minutes. Not a lot, no traffic, so that was good. It was an easy ride at least. Summertime, I can guarantee you, it probably would have taken us a lot longer. But we went up there. It's an animal hospital, plus they have other specialties there. Really nice, really big, clean. They took us just about right away. The specialist did. The doctor took the time, went through everything. He said Shamrock's eye is healing really well. Surgery was done really well, and in the process now, things are looking good. He did add more drops. We were up to 4 different drops in his eyes. He got the surgery in the right eye, so most of the drops are in. All the drops are in the right eye, but he also added one in the left. I did not realize this, but the doctor said that we are in a very windy area, which we are. That I know. But he said that's not good for dogs' eyes, and they get very dry. And dry eye is one of the things that can lead to these ulcers. So I don't know we don't know what caused the ulcer in the eye, but that could be it. So he now has to have drops in both eyes, and I don't know if this will be forever kind of thing, because with the wind, it could cause some serious problems with his eyes. So 3 times a day, we have 4 different types of drops going on. There's a whole schedule. Shamrock's medical bin is bigger than Mo and I combined of anything we take. It's crazy. So he did that. Fine, he did all right. Then the afternoon, we went to a regular vet because we needed to get a vet down here. We only had the one in Connecticut, so we chose a vet, and we went out there about half an hour away, but that's okay. Really liked him, and really liked the vet that we saw, and she said he looked good as he can be. He has something called protein losing enteropathy. So that basically means his body cannot handle protein. And in some cases that can be dangerous because there's certain things that can get really low and can be life-threatening, which is why he's on the steroids. But she had said that, because he's lost a little bit of weight, if you were to pet his back, you can feel every vertebrae in his back. It's very bony. His entire skeleton, for the most part, you can feel. And she said that's just normal. That's part of his disease, and that's always going to be there. But she did say everything else looked really good. So he is slowing down. He doesn't have the strength or the muscle that he used to. And I said, is there a doggy inshore, something I can give him? And she said, no. Cats, they're much farther along with that kind of stuff, but not with dogs. So we are going to try. He's also gotten, since surgery, he used to never be picky. He'd eat whatever we gave him. And because of his issues, we've given him fancier food. So much more like human grade food type of thing. And so we've been feeding him for a few years now, Perfect Pet. It's frozen. It's got, you know, meat plus all sorts of fruit and veg and all that stuff. And you defrost it and they eat it type of thing. That brand happens to be partially cooked. It's not completely raw. And he's loved it for years and years. We've added some pumpkin in there, some rice, and he just scoffs it up. Last couple weeks, he has not wanted to eat it. So we've picked up a rotisserie chicken, and he's been getting that with some either pumpkin, or I steam some carrots and we mash that up in there and give him, but it's not as many nutrients. So there is another brand that the vet had recommended we try. It again it's all human grade food. There's no fillers. There's nothing else that in there. And she said, try that. See if he'll accept some of that as well. He loves fruit. I can't get him to eat any vegetables. Blueberries are his all-time favorite. I just worry about too much sugar. He likes raspberries. He likes bananas. He loves apple. Sometimes I mix peanut butter, sugar-free peanut butter in with the apple. He's spoiled. I'll admit it. But in order to keep him as healthy as possible, we have to be creative in his foods. So we are going to try a new food and see if he will be a little less picky, because he cannot survive on rotisserie chicken. There's just not enough stuff in that. So he would be happy with that and blueberries, I'd say. But anyway, so that is a work in progress as well. But overall, he is doing well. He has had some days where he didn't want to eat, which made me nervous, because that's always something you got to look at. And a couple days where it was colder, and there was one afternoon where I just had to hold him for a couple hours. He was shaking and shivering, so I had a extra sweater on, and I wrapped it around him, and him and I just hung out for a couple hours, and he was able to relax and just chill and nap on me. I feel like I have a little. When Megan was little, there were times when the only time she would take an afternoon nap would be if she was on us. I feel like I'm back 20 years with a little baby again. So anyway, if anybody has suggestions, if your dog is picky, and if you've come across something that, I don't know if it's a texture thing now I'm not sure if the Perfect Pet food is a little too squishy. It's the only thing I can think of, because he loved it otherwise, taste-wise. So I don't know if there's a texture thing going on with him right now. But please, I'd love any suggestions if you found something that works really well. So we have lots of vet stuff. We had the DMV. What else is going on? I am working on finding stuff for up here. So I still have some ideas and things. You'll see here, I had seen somebody had suggested one of these inserts. This is a wine holder that fits into the Kallax, and I only bought one because they're not cheap. Acrylic is expensive. This is an iDesign holder. It's designed for fridges and freezers, so they fit perfectly in here. So I picked one up just to see what it would be like. This woman that I saw on Instagram had tons and tons of them, and she had everything labeled nicely, and I'm not sure I'm ever going to get to that point, but so I did pick this up, and then Mo and I think on Sunday are going to make a trip to IKEA. There's a couple things for the house we wanted besides, but then I want to pick up a couple things here for the craft area and have him put that together. Megan, a week ago on Saturday's game, Megan got a concussion, so she is not playing at the moment because she's in concussion protocol. She's feeling much better, thank goodness. The game was an away game. We were watching it streaming, and I saw it, right before halftime. She kind of got, I don't know if she got bumped or whatever in the circle, if you know lacrosse, there's the 8-meter, and then she fell, and I saw her hit her head on the ground, and I said to Mo, I wonder if she got a concussion. And then she didn't go back in the second half, and she had her jacket on. I said she had a concussion, and sure enough, afterwards we talked to her, and she said the trainer said she had one. They shut her down, and then obviously the school doctor, when she got back, the sports doctor for the school, looked at it and said, we got to put you in protocol, and she's feeling better now, but she won't be playing. So we, just haven't been able to go to any games. If she's not playing, we want to wait. because even some of what she can do, she can't even sometimes stay at a full game because they don't want her having that much stimulus type of thing. So anyway, but we might go up to visit on Sunday, and there's an IKEA right around the corner, so I can get a couple things done at once. And she can dog sit, because IKEA is one store that will not let dogs in. I am realizing that there are a lot of stores that are dog friendly, by the way. IKEA is not one of them. So she will dog sit for us while we go in. So anyway, that's our upcoming things and plans. Weather has been ridiculously cold. Yesterday it warmed up, but it was one of those weird stormy, I don't know what was going to happen, from tornado to hurricane to thunderstorm to something. We originally had tornado warnings. They downgraded it just to heavy rain, thank goodness. And today it's not as warm, but it's not 30 degrees out there either. So we're getting there. Spring has got to come at some point. But that's it. That's really all I've got. I've rambled on now enough, and I hope you got some good stitching in while you were hanging out with me. And I would love to hear, as always, what you're stitching on, because you give me inspiration. So I would love to know. All right, that's it, my stitchy friends. I hope you are well. I hope you are safe. I hope you are getting stitching in. And whether it's spring or fall or whatever's coming in your area of the world, I hope it goes well for you. So until next time, happy stitching.